I have 4 sisters, but one who's just 6 years older than me. In my early 20s, I think I was at university, and we went for a Christmas walk. One of her feet was kind of dragging as we walked, and I can remember getting very frustrated with her and saying, come on, Michelle, pick your foot up. You're going to wear your shoes out. Why are you doing that? And she said, I don't know, it's just happening. And I remember being incredibly guilty about a month later when she'd been to the doctor and had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis to find that this was a real issue and was never ever going to get better. You know, now as we're talking about this, it's 40 years later, and she's gone from walking to being in a wheelchair, and now, most recently, really the only thing that she can move is kind of from the neck up.
So my wife got diagnosed probably 23 years ago. I got home one day, we were in a 2-story house, and my wife was stranded at the bottom of the stairs, sitting down, very upset because she couldn't take the baby upstairs. From that point on, she started losing functional use of, initially I think it was her right leg, and then both legs. And probably about 15 years ago, she required a wheelchair to get around the house.
I was diagnosed with MS in 2003, and so I've had it almost 17 years now. My first 6 to 8 years with MS, I probably had about 10 different definitive attacks. If you're in a remitting stage, which I have been for years now, you're always waiting for the next time that you're going to relapse.
Getting used to having the disease and really uncertainty of what the disease is going to bring, it's probably the toughest time, to be honest. When you're going through something like this, you kind of live for the hope parts of it.
I had supported riders in the MS 150 since 2004, and I never was even well enough to train for it. And as things started to get better, I just got a wild hair and said, I'm gonna train for it. The MS 150 is able to raise millions and millions of dollars.
It provides a huge amount of funding for research, for MS treatment, new treatments, and to move towards a cure.
They provide wheelchairs, education, counseling, rides to doctors.
So that's why I signed up, to really help others and to ride for those with MS, but also as a personal goal.
150 miles, people are appalled by how can you possibly cycle 150 miles? It's actually not as hard as many people think once you get a bike and you start practicing.
I didn't even have a road bike. So I signed up and then went and bought a road bike, and it convinced my wife as well.
There's a lot of experienced riders who shares the information. There'll be a lot of encouragement, motivation.
Usually we train for about 3 to 4 months before the event, so we start training in January.
It was a challenge, but then it started to get easier as I trained, and a lot more fun.
You don't have to go fast, it's not a race. It's kind of a social ride. It's a really fun way to kind of connect with people that you probably don't necessarily interact with on a daily basis.
You make good friends, you make new friends.
It almost feels like a little small family. We help each other out, look for each other.
You will never feel like you're by yourself. You're gonna feel like there is a big group behind you and making you bike.
You're included in this team, you're included in this effort. I'm really proud to wear that jersey.
The other thing that is good is the hope that it gives people. There's just, if there's 10,000 cyclists riding out, it really kind of gets a strong positive feeling.
You can do a lot. There is no ending. You can start with small and do a lot.
It's like you're actually doing something to further that effort to find a cure for MS, and it's a huge sense of accomplishment.
I don't think anyone that's involved in the cycling would trade it for anything.
So why do I ride?
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 I ride to find a cure for MS.
I ride for people who are suffering from MS.
Because I can do my little part to help everyone else.
I ride for my daughter as well, who's not seen her mother walk.
I ride because I can, for those that can't, as long as I can.
I ride for the cure.
you.